Welcome GibbsCAM users. Today we're going to show you 5 of the many enhancements that'll be coming out in version 2022, which will be released in October 2021. So let's get started. Our first enhancement is going to be section view. Okay, for our first enhancement, which is section view, you can see I have a pretty complicated part here. Lots of holes and features. Now we've always been able to make the part transparent just by clicking on the part. Let's just show you that. Go into user color and we'll just make this slider here transparent and click on our part, and now you can see our part is kind of transparent. So if you want to see through the part, that's a good way to do that, but we want to show you section view, so I'm just going to highlight my part and go back to here and basically turn that back off so it's solid again. So here I have 4 coordinate systems here. We're just going to start with the XY coordinate system, and there's a new icon now up here. If I hover over that, you'll see it says show section view. So by activating that and holding down the Control and Alt key, you're going to see that, let's activate this first. Hold down the Alt and Shift key and you're going to see we have a grid there. You can turn it on or off. Control Alt, and you can drag this grid and drag it down through your part, and it's going to section that as you go, so you can kind of get an idea of what you want to look at in a particular plane. You can also go to a certain distance. I have a point here on this part here, so if I wanted to say look at the section right through here, I could just hold down the keys again, the Control and Alt key, right click and go to section depth, and here I could highlight this, hold down the Alt key, click on this point for instance, click apply, and you can see it brings it down right to that section there. So really nice enhancement. It can be on any plane that you would like. Let's go to the YZ plane. You can see again Control Alt, you can drag that through your part. YZ plane, and of course you can do any plane that you would like. I have one on 45 degree, and you could see that as well. So extremely nice enhancement there. Section view. Number 2 enhancement, align edge to CS. Okay, here is our second enhancement, which is align edge to CSH, which is horizontal. So you can see our part here is kind of skewed. It probably goes on an assembly, and that's the way it came in when we were sent the model. So we want to machine this, say, on our 3-axis vertical, for instance. It can be, of course, any machine, but let's just use 3-axis vertical as their sample. So the first thing you want to do is, of course, we want to line this flat area here parallel with our table. So easy to do that. Just click on this, make sure face selection is on, click on this face, right click and click on align face to CS. If I go back to the isometric view, you can see it is aligned to my plane. Now if I go to the top view, you're going to see it's kind of skewed the other way still. So instead of trying to figure out the angle or make another plane and have it rotate to that, let's just go to isometric view here a little bit. Turn on edge selection, select this edge, and right click, a new button that says align edge to CSH. Once we do that, turn off edge selection, go back to top view, and let's just do a shrink wrap. And you can see now our part is lined up perfectly. Of course you can move your origin where you'd like to, but it is aligned now in the horizontal axis and nice and flat with the plane. So that's the second enhancement, align edge to CSH. So very nice enhancement as well. Enhancement number 3, extrude with taper. So in this enhancement, it is extrude with taper. Now in the past we could only extrude a taper in one direction, but now they've enhanced that to allow you to do it in both directions. I don't use this very often, but advanced users might use it a little more often. Let's go to our solids palette, create solid, and extrude. Now we could always extrude in the Z plus, Z minus, but when you clicked on the taper button in the past, the Z minus disappeared. So now we can actually go both directions. So if we wanted to go 3/4 up in the Z and minus, say, 1 inch there with the 10-degree taper, you can see now we have a taper, both directions. Of course, you could do a positive as well. Select your shape, and you can see now it goes both directions. So very nice and handy, especially for advanced users. And that's it for enhancement number 3. Okay, enhancement number 4 is called Multipull Extrude. This is probably one of my favorite enhancements out of the 5, and let's show you this one. Okay, enhancement number 4, Multipull Extrude. Like I mentioned, this is one of my favorite ones. Here we have a part here, just geometry. And for those that create solid models on Gibbs, this will be a really nice enhancement for that. So first of all, let's just take our part here and let's just extrude it down 1 inch. Okay, this is called multi-pull. So now we can extrude multiple pieces of geometry at the same time. So for instance, let's select this one, and this one, and let's extrude it up 1/2 inch and nothing down below. And as you can see, they are all added together. So let's add these two together while we're at it. Okay, that becomes one lump body. Okay, now we have this one here, this one here, this one here that we want holes. So let's go up about 1 inch and maybe minus 1 inch and 1/100 would be okay. All right, let's take this and let's subtract all 3 of those, and now you can see we have a hole through there. Okay, and the last one, let's select this one and this one. Let's just use the same numbers there, it'll be okay. And you can see those are one lump, and we extruded both of them at the same time. Let's take our solid, extract those out of there, and let's turn off our geometry and our dimensions, and you can see we have our part there. So very nice feature. I really like this one, that you can now extrude multiple pieces of geometry and of course add and subtract like we always have, but to be able to do multiple pieces of geometry at the same time is a really nice enhancement. So thumbs up for enhancement number 4. And so our last enhancement out of the 5 is called Create Plane. Let's show you this one. Okay, and so for our last enhancement is Create Plane. Now before, if you work with solids or surface models, sometimes you might bring in a surface model and you need to cap it off to make it a solid, or you're missing some parts in the surface that may have holes in that. Before, you had to create a plane and then use geometry and trim it and then stitch it back up. So this makes it a lot easier to cap models or fix bad surface models. So here I have just some geometry here, and this icon is right here, and it should bring up plane. And so you don't necessarily need to be on the coordinate system or plane to create it. You can just double click the shape, the geometry, click on plane, and it automatically creates a surface and trims it for you. So very nice. And let's do a few others here. Zoom that up, maybe this one. Of course, it needs to be a closed shape. But other than that, very nice. And of course, if you don't select any geometry, it just, of course, creates a plane. And then you could trim that if you want, if you had some geometry to trim it with some of these buttons down here on the menu. But nice enhancement as well. And that's it for the first 5. We have many more to go, so stay tuned, and we'll put out some more next week. Thank you for watching.